Hey guys, welcome back. Patrick here. So, usually on Sundays I do reviews, but this week's going to be a little bit different. You probably heard about the rumors that CCIV, Michael Klein's SPAC, might merge with Lucid Motors. Well, this week that's all people have been asking me about is, what about CCIV? What about Lucid Motors? Should I buy now? So today I figured, let me give my thoughts on the company, right? We don't have a lot of details yet. We don't even know if there's going to be a definitive agreement, but let me give you my thoughts on what the company is about right now. Like, why are people so excited? And how am I going to be dealing with this SPAC? Like, am I investing in it right now? So let's get started. But first, please like and subscribe. It really helps out. And as usual, the link in the description for WeBull. So far, we've had 51 signups this month. I really want to thank you guys. It helps a lot. And I hope you got 4 great stocks. So now let's get started. Alright guys, remember, this is not my full review. This is just my first impressions based on like what we know about the potential transaction, and to answer the question, like, is it worth buying shares now? Like, what can we do with this stock? So Lucid Motors is seen as one of the Tesla killers, which we all know is garbage. Like, there's only one Tesla and it's miles ahead of all of their other competitors. But to their credit, Lucid Motors is one of the very, very few companies that is close to delivering electric vehicle cars. Most of them, as you guys know, are like in the prototyping phase, or like they're still working on their tests. They're not even remotely close. But Lucid is very close to delivering vehicles. In the first quarter, they're going to launch their first, like, the most expensive model, and then over the next several months they'll start to roll out their cheaper models and try to take some market shares away from Tesla. So in other words, what people are hoping with this transaction is that Tesla's crazy valuation, hundreds of billions of dollars, is going to rub off on Lucid Motors, right? Make the valuation totally disconnected from the revenues, and, you know, make big profits that way. So if we look at the transaction a little bit closer. So all this started when Bloomberg revealed last week that Michael Klein's SPAC, CCIV, which raised $2 billion last year, were in talk to merge with Lucid Motors for about $15 billion. Now remember, this is the IPO price of $10, so already with the share price at 18, I mean, this is a transaction where the company would be out of the gates worth at least $30 billion. So we'll have to see, does that make sense or not? So the CEO for Lucid Motors is Peter Rawlinson, and this is very exciting because he was the chief engineer for the Tesla Model S. This is what people are doing, is they're comparing both of them, and a lot of people think that the Lucid Air, which is going to be the first model for Lucid Motors, is kind of like the version 2.0 of the Model S, which was a very big commercial success. So the guy knows what he's doing, and people are hoping, hey, this company is going to have the same trajectory as Tesla. If we look at their website, you can see this is the Lucid Air, right? And I mean, the specs are pretty amazing. The car looks great. Now you can already start reserving it. As I was saying, they're going to be rolling out the most expensive model in the spring. So the first quarter, probably in March, I believe. And then over time, over the next few months, they'll have the cheaper model. So the Air Grand Touring at $131,000, the Air Touring at $87,000, and this one is going to compete directly against Tesla Model S. And then the Air Pure, which is their bare bones model, which also is going to be competing with the Tesla Model S. If we compare on the Tesla side, right, you can see that the Long Range Plus, so their bare bones models at $69,000 for 402 miles range, and then Performance at $92,000 is like 387 mile range. Well, again, this compares about exactly the same as the Lucid Air, where the cheaper model is 406 and the Air Touring is 406. So again, like, apple to apple, these companies are very, very similar in their first products. Now, of course, Tesla is years ahead in terms of actually producing them and delivering them. But the expectation is that if all of this goes through, Lucid Motors could have the same trajectory, hopefully, and get that really ridiculous valuation. All right, now you're caught up on Lucid Motors and you know a little bit what the company is about, but now it's time to get your tinfoil hat because it's time for Patrick's conspiracy theories. I do have a theory on this transaction, and that is, I do strongly believe that the Saudis, which are behind Lucid Motors, like they're their financial backers, have leaked this information to Bloomberg with the intention of getting a better deal, right? By leaking this, the share price has gone to $18, and now they're able to go to Michael Klein and say, hey, look, that's not enough. It's worth way more than $15 billion. So if we look at Michael Klein, the sponsor, I do think he's a liability. Hear me out, right? The guy has a lot of connections in the industry. He has a lot of experience and all of that. He's seen as a deal maker, but he's coming off of a very bad SPAC. Multiplan MPLN, right, which is currently at 743. I listed it as my third worst SPAC of 2020. Well, he's in a position of weakness right now. He has to redeem himself. So he needs this transaction way more than Lucid Motors does, right? We can all agree on this. So it's very possible that if they do get into a transaction, he's going to have to overpay for it. Exactly the same thing that happened with Multiplan. The reason why it's at 743 is that this transaction is not structured favorably to the shareholders, and he overpaid for it. That's all there is to it. Well, how likely is it that it's going to happen exactly the same thing with Lucid Motors if they get into an agreement? You have to understand something, right? CCIV was stuck at $10 for months. Literally, if you look at the chart, right, it didn't move at all from $10. In fact, in October, if you guys remember, like when no one wanted SPACs, it dipped even below $10. So not even at the floor price. The reason why is no one trusts Michael Klein right now. So his reputation is a little bit damaged, so he needs to redeem himself. And that to me is one of the things I'm looking at. Like, it's great to think about Lucid Motors, that it's going to be a good company, but I really need to see the valuation before I get excited about the deal. With all of that said, does that mean that there's no money to be made here? Absolutely not. We live in crazy times, and trading is more common than ever. People are making a fortune with it. Look at these numbers. Okay, so the share price at 1836. You want proof that this stock is heavily traded right now and people are really looking into it? Look at the volume, 182.8 million shares on Friday compared to the average volume of 11.4. Well, if you go in the filings and you look at it, there's 207 million shares for the SPAC. That means that about 85-90% of the SPAC changes hand over the past couple of days, right? So that means that there's constantly people, and probably a lot of algorithms too, that are purchasing and selling and purchasing and selling, and there's always someone willing to buy it for a little bit more. And reason why is if we look at the Google Trends, right, you can see that just for Lucid Motors, look at the big spike in interest for this company, right? Then if you look at CCIV, same thing, it shoots straight up in the chart. If we look at another data source, this is from one of the programs that I use for keywords, right? Look at the search interest over the past few days compared to before. So everyone is looking into the stock and people want it to be the next Tesla. Everyone wants to get in. So when I said that currently, like, the transaction was at 15 billion and it might go to 30 billion and who knows where it's going to end up, right? If it even gets into an agreement. It doesn't even matter. That's the crazy thing about it. There is such a huge disconnect in the market between like the company's performance and what people are willing to pay. It all goes back to Tesla. Look at the market cap, $783 billion. This is a company where, if you guys remember, Elon said when it was at like, what, $820 before the split, that the share price was too high. People are just willing to pay any price to own these and trade. Like, they know that someone else is going to pay more than what they paid for. So that's why, even though CCIV like has gone up, and we don't know if the share price is going to keep going up, we don't know if he's going to even get into a deal, right? It doesn't change the fact that over the next week or two, like until they announce either the merger like is announced, right, and it's going to go through, or the rumor is dispelled, the share price is going to keep going higher and higher because people want it to be true. People want to get in on the next Tesla before the merger is announced. And if it is announced, and like you have shares, they're going to skyrocket. And it doesn't matter if the valuation is at 30 billion. Like, unless he announces like it's 50 billions or 150 billions or something absolutely insane, people are going to be buying the stock, hoping that it's the next Tesla. So because of that, right, I have very few shares. I should have bought a lot more. But, you know, like, just I don't really like trading on rumors, but I hadn't really thought about the fact that just the hype itself is going to make this an excellent play. So whether I want to hold this in the short term and just keep trading it, or hold some shares long term, right? If I keep trading them and making profits, I can keep some shares for free. To me, this is a pretty good investment. I mean, I hate the speculation in the market. I don't think like investing based on rumors is the way to go. But again, you have to adapt to how the market is right now, and you play with the rules of the game, and that's how the market is right now. So that's what I think about the company. I am going to keep adding positions anytime I see a little dip during the day using RSI and MACD. Always look at those indicators, and then I'm going to pick up more shares, probably keep trading it until there's an announcement, whether the rumors are dispelled or he announces the merger. So that's how I'm going to play it. Let me know in the comments if you guys already have a position or if you're going to be buying more. Let me know what you guys end up doing. I hope you enjoyed this little insight. It's not necessarily a review like I usually do, but let me know in the comments. Talk to you guys later.